So, you just inherited a house in Washington State, but nobody told you there would be court paperwork, legal delays, or rules about what you can and can't do with the property. Welcome to probate. If you're like most people I talk to, you've heard the word, but no one's ever actually explained what it means. Let's fix that. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the probate process in Washington State, what it is, why it matters, and how to avoid the most common hangups. This is not legal advice, but it is a straight up explanation from someone who's helped people walk this road before. So if you're trying to figure out how to actually sell that inherited property, this is where your path starts. I hope that I can give you enough information in these 5 points to inform you, but not overwhelm you. I'm Jeremy Schooler, your rebel real estate guy. I am the founder of Kitsap Home Pro, a company that is built different, built on purpose, so that we can help real people navigate what I call the common real estate problem. We don't box you into one option. We help you understand the options. We help you create customized solutions for hard to sell homes. All right, first thing first. What is probate? Probate is the legal process that happens when someone passes away and their estate, that is everything owned, needs to be officially settled. That includes proving that the will is valid, if there is a will, paying off debts and taxes, distributing property to the rightful heirs. If there's real estate involved, probate is usually required before anything can be sold, transferred, or even touched. And in Washington, this can take a few months or even longer. So if someone told you just list it, but probate hasn't started yet, you're going to hit a wall. Okay, the second thing, who has the legal right to sell? Here's a key point that a lot of people miss. You can't sell what you don't have legal authority over. And it seems obvious that if you're the heir, you should just naturally be able to sell it. And that's true, but you still have to go through the legal process to get named as the person that's allowed to legally sell it. It'd be like having a title to a vehicle, but it's not your name. You gotta go get a piece of paper that says, oh, this person's allowed to sign on behalf of. So until the court officially appoints a personal representative, usually called an executor or an administrator, nobody can sign legal documents on behalf of the estate. That rep is the only person who can hire an agent, sign a purchase contract, transfer title to the property, or anything else like that. If you're not that person, or if no one's been appointed yet, you'll need to wait or work with a probate attorney to get that ball rolling. Okay, number 3, let's talk about Washington's probate process. We'll break it down real simple here. Here's what the probate process usually looks like in Washington. First, you'll file a petition with the local superior court to open probate. Next, you'll appoint a personal representative, an executor or administrator for the estate. And I'll mention here, I think this is a good point to mention, the estate, the quote, the estate, it's a legal term, its own legal entity. It's kind of like a business almost, except it only exists for the settling of the affairs, paying off debts, distributing assets, and then to be closed. So you might be the heir, but the estate is its own separate thing that exists. It's its own separate entity, and it will be taxed as such. So you might be the administrator of the estate, kind of like the CEO of a company, but you're not the estate, and the estate isn't yours. You're just the administrator of it. Until those things get all settled, it's just this existing thing. So the estate will pay taxes. The estate will pay off debts. The estate will distribute assets. And once everything's gone, it will be closed, and that the estate no longer exists. That entity is then closed and goes away. Okay, so some other things that the estate's going to need to do. Notify creditors. The estate has to pay off any debts before distributing assets. Inventory the estate. This includes the property, accounts, personal belongings. It's not just the real estate that falls into the term the estate. It's everything that the person owned. Any sort of bank accounts, any debts, all of that stuff falls into the estate and has to get reconciled. The estate will need to manage the property if there is real estate, keep it secure, pay taxes on it, handle upkeep. Again, this is the responsibility of the estate, not you. In theory, the estate will cover all of these costs. Then sell the property if needed, the real estate property if needed, but only after you have legal authority. Distribute the assets once all the debts are paid and the court gives the green light, and then close the estate. Some estates will qualify for a simplified version called non-intervention probate, but you still have to go through that process and go check a few boxes with the court. So, number 4, how long does probate take? This is one of the biggest sources of stress because people don't plan for it. We think it's going to be like this quick, easy thing, and we kind of hope it will be because a lot of times it comes with a lot of stresses that we just don't want to struggle with for a long period of time. Well, in Washington, a typical probate process lasts 4 to 9 months. That's fairly average, sometimes less, sometimes much longer. If there's a conflict in the family, unclear paperwork, or missing information. However, depending on the complexity of the state, it can drag on for quite a long time. Sometimes it can go very quickly. I've seen it go in just a couple of months. Sometimes it can go on for a couple of years. And even then, there might be still something attached to the property itself that has to be paid off, depending on how things went. I just worked with a client recently that there was still some liens against the property, the real estate property itself. Probate was finished, but the real estate property itself still had a lien against it that carried through the probate process. So you want to go through all of that and talk to an attorney and an accountant and get all those little details ironed out, because they will come up when you go to sell the property, if there's a lien existing or any of that kind of stuff. What this means is that if you're hoping to sell the property fast, you've got to start the probate process as soon as possible. It's not always a slow train, but it doesn't move without someone giving it a push. Okay, number 5. What can go wrong if you're not prepared? Here's another one that people get tripped up on. Trying to sell before probate is open. Didn't even know probate was a thing. If you're trying to sell before probate's open, you can't legally close the deal. Then there's family disagreements. One person wants to sell, another wants to keep it, another wants to move into it. Another one is letting the house sit vacant. Insurance issues, squatters, damage. If there's repairs that need to be done, they do not get better with time. They probably get worse. Skipping professional help is another one. There might be a messy title, and by that I mean the title of the property, there can be all kinds of attachments that happen over years, especially if somebody's owned it for a long time. Little liens, little things that are just there that need to be dealt with, and or perhaps it just hasn't been touched in a very long time, and so finding the details that need to get dealt with or ironed out hasn't been done because there was no reason to do it. Well, when it comes time to sell the property, now there's a reason to walk through that. There could be some unpaid taxes or some missed deadlines, all that need to be reconciled before the property and the closing of a sale can happen. I've seen families lose tens of thousands of dollars just because they didn't know how probate worked, or maybe they waited too long to start acting on it. And look, I'm not here to scare you, but I am here to prepare you. Because when you know the process, you can at least plan ahead a little bit. You can have it in the back of your head and be thinking about it. You can protect your options and avoid making decisions in panic or in a rush. Like I've said before, this is not meant to be a plug for working with me, but I do want to share what I do. This is how I work with sellers. Every time I make an offer, I walk them through it. No pressure, no tricks. I explain how I got there, I show my numbers, and I let them decide. I let you decide. If that offer doesn't make sense for you, I'll say so. I'd rather earn your trust than your property, because real trust leads to real referrals, and that's how I run this business. That's how this business survives. So I might give you an offer. I might tell you, no, you don't. There's times I tell people, you don't even need to hear my offer. My recommendation is that you should go this route. And that's often might be helping you list the property, or just for you to list the property, which we can help with. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to prepare an inherited home for sale, from what to fix, what to leave, and how to get it cleaned up without losing your mind. But remember, none of that matters if you haven't handled probate first. So make sure you're clear on your role, your authority, and your next legal steps. Then you'll be ready to move forward. Lastly, here's the deal. If you've inherited a home and you're trying to sell it, you've got to understand probate first. Without that legal foundation, everything else can start to fall apart. But once you've got clarity on your role, your authority, and where things stand, you're in a way better position to move forward with confidence. Figuring out how to prepare the property, what's worth fixing and what's not, that's where most people get stuck. So we'll walk through that together in this next video. I'll see you there. Every estate is different. If you want to talk through yours, just start the conversation. No pressure. And if you found this video helpful, could you help me by hitting that like and subscribe button below? Thanks a lot.